companion form of Raya, he has done nothing bad, and no reproach has he taken up against his intimate acquaintance form of Karovo textoi acute muritra longo. Nephilim 491. Though one is living at a distance, or is not a relative or an associate, the real neighbor is the one who will exercise the love and kindness to another that the scriptures command. Lu 10. 29-37. In the Commonwealth of Israel. At Hebrews 8. 11, a form of the Greek word po-middle.letes, citizen, appears in most Greek texts. Some late manuscripts read po-middle.sion. Paul here quotes from the restoration prophecy of Jeremiah 31. 34, spoken to those in the Commonwealth of Israel. And they will no more teach each one his companion form of Rea and each one his brother, saying, Know Jehovah. For they will all of them know me, from the least one of them even to the greatest one of them, is the utterance of Jehovah. Paul applies it to the spiritual holy nation, the Israel of God, saying, And they will by no means teach each one his fellow citizen and each one his brother. Counsel from Proverbs. While a person is to help his neighbor and to love him, yet he must exercise caution not to make attempts to become the most intimate associate of his neighbor or fellowman, to avoid imposing or presuming upon him. The proverb couches the thought in these terms. Make your foot rare at the house of your fellowman form of Rea, that he may not have his sufficiency of you and certainly hate you. PR 25. 17. However, faith and trust in a companion, and the advisability of calling on such a person in time of need are counseled in the Proverbs. Do not leave your own companion or the companion of your father, and do not enter the house of your own brother on the day of your disaster. Better is a neighbor middle.kin that is near than a brother that is far away. PR 27. 10. Here the writer seems to be saying that a close family friend is one to be valued and should be looked to for help rather than even so close a relative as a brother, if that brother is far away, because he may not be as ready or at least not in as favorable a position to render help as the family companion. Nekoda ne middle.ko dar speckled. 1. The forefather of a group of Nethinim who returned from Babylonian exile in 537 BCE is 2. 1, 43, 48. Ne 7. 46, 50. 2. The forefather of a group unable to tell the house of their fathers and their origin. As 2. 59, 60. Ne 7. 61, 62. Since the names of Delaiah and Tobiah associated with Nekoda in these verses do not occur elsewhere in a list of returning exiles, it is assumed that this Nekoda is a person different from number 1. Namu middle.l. 1. First listed of Simeon's 5 sons and family head of the Namulites. New 26. 12-14. 1 ch 4. 24. In the list of those who came into Egypt with Jacob, he is called Jemuel. Ge 46. 8, 10. X 6. 15. 2. Son of Eliab and great-grandson of Reuben. His brothers were the rebels Din and Abiram, whom the earth swallowed up. New 26. 5, 8, 9. 11. 6. Namulites Namu middle.l middle.ites of belonging to Namuel. A family of Simeon descended from Namuel. New 26. 12. Nepheg and Epheg. 1. Son of Shah and brother of Korah and Zitri. Of the tribe of Levi, he was a cousin of Moses and Aaron. X 6. 16, 18, 20, 21. 2. One of King David's sons born at Jerusalem. 2 Sa 5. 13-15. 1 ch 3. 5, 7. 14. 3-6. Nephilim Nepho middle.lim fellas. Those who cause others to fall down. This is a transliteration of the Hebrew word nephi middle.lim, plural in its 3 occurrences in the Bible. Ge 6. 4. New 13. 33. Twice it evidently stems from the causative form of the Hebrew verb na middle.full fall as found, for example, in 2 Kings 3. 19. 19. 7. The Bible account describing Jehovah's displeasure with men in the days of Noah before the flood relates that the sons of the true God took for themselves wives from among the attractive daughters of man. It then mentions the presence of Nephilim, saying, "The Nephilim proved to be in the earth in those days, and also after that, when the sons of the true God continued to have relations with the daughters of men, and o textoi acute miritra longo. Nephilim 492 roamed the earth until they were destroyed by the flood." Still another group, taking into consideration not only the meaning of the name Nephilim, but also the context of verse 4, conclude that the Nephilim were not themselves angels, but were the hybrid offspring resulting from materialized angels having intercourse with the daughters of man. Same as gib-middle.bo-middle.rim. Certain Bible translations adjust the location of the phrase and also after that, placing it near the beginning of verse 4, thus identifying the Nephilim with the mighty ones, the gib-middle.bo-middle.rim, mentioned in the latter part of the verse. For example, in those days, as well as afterward, there were giants Heb, Han Nephilim on the earth, who were born to the sons of the gods whenever they had intercourse with the daughters of man. These were the heroes Heb, Hag Bo Rim, who were men of note in days of old. GE 6. 4, at. See also Mo, Nev, and Tef. The Greek Septuagint also suggests that both the Nephilim and mighty ones are identical by using the same word gigan-tes giants to translate both expressions. Reviewing the account, we see that verses 1 to 3 tell of the sons of the true God taking wives, and of Jehovah's statement that he was going to end his patience with men after 120 years. Verse 4 then speaks of the Nephilim proving to be in the earth in those days, evidently the days when Jehovah made the statement. Then it shows that this situation continued after that, when the sons of the true God continued to have relations with the daughters of men, and describes in more detail the results of the union of the sons of the true God with women. Who were the sons of God that fathered the Nephilim? Who were the sons of the true God that were involved? Were they men who were worshippers of Jehovah as distinguished from the general run of wicked mankind, as some claim? Evidently not. The Bible implies that their marriage to the daughters of men resulted in whipping up the badness in the earth. Noah and his 3 sons, along with their wives, were the only ones in God's favor and were the only ones preserved through the deluge. GE 6. 9. 8. 15, 16. 1 3. 20. Hence, if these sons of the true God were merely men, the question arises, why were their offspring men of fame more than those of the wicked, or of faithful Noah? Also, the question might be asked, why mention their marriage to the daughters of men as something special? Marriage and childbearing had been taking place for more than 1,500 years. The sons of God mentioned at Genesis 6. 2, therefore, must have been angels, spirit sons of God. This expression is applied to angels at Job 1. 6. 38. 7. This view is supported by Peter, who speaks of the spirits in prison, who had once been disobedient when the patience of God was waiting in Noah's days. 1 Peter 3. 19, 20. Also Jude writes of the angels that did not keep their original position but forsook their own proper dwelling place. Jude 6. Angels had the power to materialize in human form, and some angels did so to bring messages from God. G 18. 1, 2, 8, 20-22. 19. 1-11. Jos 5. 13-15. But heaven is the proper abode of spirit persons, and the angels there have positions of service under Jehovah. Dar 7. 9, 10. To leave this abode to dwell on earth and to forsake their assigned service to her fleshly relations would be rebellion against God's laws, and perversion. The Bible states that the disobedient angels are now spirits in prison, having been thrown into a Tartarus and reserved with eternal bonds under dense darkness for the judgment of the great day. This seems to indicate that they are greatly restricted, unable again to materialize o textoi acute miritra longo. Nero 493. A report intended to terrorize. The 10 spies who brought back to the Israelites in the wilderness a false report on the land of Canaan declared, all the people whom we saw in the midst of it are men of extraordinary size. And there we saw the Nephilim, the sons of Anak, who are from the Nephilim. So that we became in our own eyes like grasshoppers, and the same way we became in their eyes. No doubt there were some large men in Canaan, as other scriptures show, but never except in this bad report, which was carefully couched in language designed to strike terror and cause panic among the Israelites, are they called Nephilim. New 13. 31-33. 14. 36, 37. Nephtoaneth middle dot to R. The name associated with a spring on the boundary between Judah and Benjamin. Jos 15. 1, 9. 18. 11, 15. This spring is usually identified with the one at Lifta Nephtoah, to the east of Kiriath Jearim and about 4 kilometers 2.5 MWNW of the Temple Mount in Jerusalem. Although this identification would agree with Joshua 15. 9, Joshua 18. 15, 16 appears to place the spring of the waters of Nephtoah W of Kiriath Jearim. Bible translators have variously handled this seeming discrepancy. Following the reading of the Greek Septuagint, the Jerusalem Bible replaces westward with towards Gasson. In the Revised Standard Version the text has been changed in harmony with Joshua 15. 9 and reads to Ephron instead of westward. Ronald A. Knox translates the Hebrew word Yammah westward according to its literal meaning as seaward and, in a footnote, explains. This ought to mean westwards, towards the Mediterranean, but it seems quite clear that at this point the boundary of Benjamin turned eastwards. And the sea is presumably the Dead Sea, its eastward limit. Nephusim middle dot Fushi middle dot Sim, Nephusim middle dot Fusim. A family head of Nethinim, some of whose descendants returned from the Babylonian exile with Zerubbabel, 537 BCE and E7. 6, 7, 46, 52. As 2. 43, 50. Possibly he was of Ishmaelite ancestry through the Naphish tribe. GE 25. 13-15. 1ch1. 29-31. 5. 19. Nalamp. A Benjamite, son of Abiel Jael, father of Abner and Kish, and grandfather of King Saul. 1 14. 50, 51. 1ch8. 33. 9. 39. Abiel number 1. Neroias and Neroias. A brother who, with his sister, was included in Paul's greetings to the Roman congregation. Row 16. 15. The name is also found on Roman inscriptions listing some of the emperor's household, as well as in legend. Nergal-Negalans. A Babylonian deity especially worshipped at Cuthah, a city that history says was dedicated to Nergal. The people of Cuthah, whom the king of Assyria settled in the territory of Samaria, continued worshipping this deity. 2 Kai 17. 24, 30, 33. Some scholars suggest that Nergal was originally associated with fire and the heat of the sun, and that later he came to be regarded as a god of war and hunting as well as a bringer of pestilence. The appellatives applied to Nergal in religious texts indicate that he was basically viewed as a destroyer. He is called the Raging King, the Violent One, and the One Who Burns. Nergal also came to be regarded as the god of the underworld and the consort of Ereshkigal. The human-headed winged lion is thought to have been the emblem of Nergal. Nergal-Sharezer the Rabmag, one of King Nebuchadnezzar's princes, was evidently named after this god. J 39. 3, 13. Nergal-Sharezer Shai middle dot Esa from Akkadion, meaning may Nergal protect the king. 1. A Babylonian prince of Nebuchadnezzar's time. J 39. 3. 2. Another important prince in Nebuchadnezzar's forces led the overthrow of Jerusalem, distinguished from number 1 by the added title Rabmag. It was this Rabmag who assisted in the release of Jeremiah. J 39. 3, 13, 14. Because this name bears such a striking resemblance to that found in Babylonian inscriptions Nergal-Sharezer, some scholars think this prince was Nergal-Isai Greek form, believed to be the Otextoi acute Miritra longo nest 494 nest. The place a bird or animal prepares for raising its young. Also, a lodging, a retreat, or a snug, comfortable, cozy residence. PR 27. 8. Issa 10. 14. 16. 2. The nests of birds vary greatly in location, size, and construction, but each type suits better than any other the particular use for which it is designed. Locations of different varieties range from the earth or the sound. Snakes are also said to have nests on the ground or among rocks. ISA 34. 15 to tufts of grass, bushes, rocks, trees, hollow tree trunks, seashore cliffs, mountains, crevices in man's buildings, even suspended over water between reeds. Among building materials used are twigs, leaves, seaweed, wool, cotton, hide, straw, moss, fur, feathers, the down of plants, horsehair, pieces of cloth, and so forth. In general, nests serve as protection from predators, as shelter from storms, and as insulation from heat and cold. To impress on Job the wisdom of the Creator, Jehovah called attention to the eagle, that builds its nest high up, that on a crag resides and stays during the night upon the tooth of a crag and an inaccessible place. Job 39. 27, 28. And to illustrate God's loving care for Israel, Moses referred to the eagle that stirs up its nest, evidently with reference to the manner in which an eagle urges and sometimes shoves the fledgling into the air to teach it to fly. Jehovah similarly brought Israel out of Egypt as a nation. He administered tender care to the young nation throughout the wilderness journey and while they were settling in the promised land, just as the eagle watches and cares for the young during their flying lessons. 32. 11. Sea eagle. The rock dove also builds its nest high in rocky places. The towering rocks in the vicinity of the Dead Sea provide numerous clefts and caves for its nests. Jeremiah may have had these secluded nests in mind in pronouncing judgment on Moab, who dwelt in this area. Leave the cities and reside on the crag, you inhabitants of Moab, and become like the dove that makes its nest in the regions of the mouth of the hollow. 48. 28. Compare Balaam's utterance at New 24. 21. The thick foliage of the strong cedars of Lebanon served as an excellent nesting location for other birds. There was ample year-round shelter and concealment. The psalmist cited this as an example of God's marvelous provisions for the welfare of his creatures. PS 104. 16, 17. Under the law, the Israelites were forbidden to take the eggs or the young from a nest and at the same time kill their mother. This prevented the cruelty of completely wiping out the family at one stroke. The mother was to be spared, to produce more young. 22. 6, 7. When a certain one of the scribes said to Jesus, "Teacher, I will follow you wherever you are about to go," Jesus replied, "Foxes have dens and birds of heaven have roosts or nests, but the Son of Man has nowhere to lay down his head." Mount 8. 19, 20. Luke 9. 57, 58. Here Jesus pointed out that to be his follower the man would have to forsake the idea of having the comforts and conveniences commonly enjoyed, and must put his trust completely in Jehovah. This principle is reflected in the model prayer he taught his disciples. "Give us today our bread for this day," and his statement. Thus, you may be sure, none of you that does not say goodbye to all his belongings can be my disciple. Mount 6. 11. Luke 14. 33. Figurative usage. In judgment messages against Edom, God used the eagle's high nesting place as a symbol of Edom's literally high location in the mountains, as well as of its haughtiness and presumptuousness. 49. 15-18. Ob 1-4. Compare God's declaration against Babylon, at Hab 1. 6. 2. 6-11. In prophesying against Jerusalem, Jeremiah referred to the loftiness of Lebanon's trees and the value of its cedar wood, used particularly by kings and rich men in construction of their houses. The palace of Judah's king Otextoi Acute Miritra Longo, Nethinum 495 net, or network, served as a grading for the altar of sacrifice. X27. 4, 5. 38. 4. 1 Chi 7. 16-18, 41, 42. J 52. 22, 23. Figurative use. Net is often used figuratively in the Bible to represent means for ensnaring others, encircling them and taking them captive or bringing calamity upon them. Job 18. 8. 19. 6. PS 66. 11. La 1. 13. As 12. 13. 17. 20. 19. 8. 32. 3. Ho 5. 1. 7. 12. Mix 7. 2. The means used by the Chaldeans to conquer nations as they extended their dominion over a wide area is likened to a dragnet. Had 1. 6. 15-17 Also, flattery and the scheming heart of an immoral woman are compared to nets. PR 29. 5. EC 7. 26. The psalmist expressed the confidence that Jehovah would deliver him from entangling nets. PS 25. 15. 31. 4. 140. 5. 12. And that those spreading out such nets would themselves be ensnared thereby. PS 9. 15. 35. 7. 8. 57. 6. 141. 10. Concerning the construction and use of various nets, see Bagkaja. Dragnet. Hunting and fishing. Netameni middle.rime. A Judean site inhabited by some potters who were in the king's service. 1ch4. 21-23 Today the location of Netam is unknown. Nethanel any middle. The Nil God is given. 1. Chieftain of the tribe of Issachar. Son of Zur. New 1. 8. 16 In this office, he supervised the wilderness census for Issachar, presented his gift when the tabernacle altar was inaugurated, and led an army of 54,400. New 2. 5, 6. 7. 11, 18-23. 10. 15. 2. Fourth named son of Jesse and older brother of King David. 1ch2. 13-15. 3. Elvitu's son Shammai was a secretary during David's reign. 1ch24. 6. 4. A priest who played a trumpet before the Ark of the Covenant in the procession that accompanied it to Jerusalem. 1ch15. 24. 5. A Levite gatekeeper assigned in David's time to the S of the sanctuary, where the storehouses were located. 5th son of Obed-Edom. 1ch26. 4, 8, 15. 6. A prince sent by King Jehoshaphat to teach Jehovah's law in the cities of Judah. 2ch17. 7-9. 7. A chief Levite who contributed animals for sacrifice at Josiah's great Passover celebration. 2ch35. 9, 18, 19. 8. Head of the priestly paternal house of Jedaiah in the days of Jeshua's successor Joachim. Ne 12. 12, 21. 9. A priest among those sons of Pasha who had taken foreign wives, but who sent them away at Ezra's urging. Es 10. 22, 44 Possibly the same as No. 10. 10. A musician in one of the processions that celebrated the rebuilding of the wall of Jerusalem in Nehemiah's day. Ne 12. 31, 35,